Welcome to 100 Yards Football. Today I got a very NFL special video. It's Bill Nunn, Chief Scout, the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards Football. I'm Mr. Football Vincent Turner. Special thanks to my producer who's making it happen this morning, Mr. Logan Landers. Bill Nunn, Chief Scout, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very responsible for that dynasty, the terrible towel, the black and gold. From 1972 to 1980, the Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty under Chuck Nunn. This young man had a very, very strong hold in bringing so many great players to that organization. But I'm going to start with the young man when he went to West Virginia State and came out of West Virginia State and ended up being the editor of the Pittsburgh Courier. And while Bill Nunn played a very, very serious part of African Americans playing in the National Football League, because with the Pittsburgh Courier, he was the sports editor. And he had the All-American team that he put together. And the thing that Bill Nunn did with that black All-American football team, especially back in the 50s, the 60s, some of the greatest players were on that team, man. I'm talking about the work before he got with the Steelers. You think about the players that made this All-American team back in the 50s. Willie Davis, Hall of Famer of the Green Bay Packers. Willie Brown, Hall of Famer, the Las Vegas Raiders, known as the Oakland Raiders. Buck Buchanan, the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl champion. Len Barney, Jackson State, one of the best they ever did it with the Detroit Lions. All these guys made this All-American team. And, of course, Eldridge Dickey and Claude Humphrey, Tennessee State finest. Bill Nunn was a chief in his own rights. And what he did for black college football is that I'm never going to take it for granted. See, they don't talk about the people like Lloyd Wales, Bill Nunn, but I'm going to do it here on 100 Yards of Football. These are guys that had a very, very, excuse me, important part of building the National Football League. Bill Nunn's skill set as a scout was unbelievable. The knowledge of the game, the eye for talent, A+. The knowledge of the game, let me give my A+. The patience, A+. The ability to present yourself at a high level as a scout, A+. The communication, A+. The dependability, A+. And take this final one now, as I lean back, punctuality. And that's why, when you look at what Bill Nunn did with the Pittsburgh Steelers, not only for black college football, it's just something that it's going to go down. You get chill bumps. Let's talk about the Steelers and their greatness. 1972, 1980. It started with the reception. Franco Harris catching the deflection off Freaky Fruka. Jack Tatum making a hit. And the Steelers win that football game trailing 7-6 with 22 seconds to go. But that's where it started. And that's where the dynasty, the terrible tiles. But Bill Nunn, unbelievable. The Steelers, during that time period in the 70s, 8 straight playoff appearances, 6 consecutive AFC titles, 22 Steelers off that 72 team that Bill Nunn had a part of, played in 4 Super Bowls. But it was the HBCUs that played a big part. And then the Hall of Famers, before I get to the HBCUs. Joe Green, Ted Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Mel Blount, Mike Webster, John Stallworth, Lynn Swann. The Super Bowl victories, it was 4 of them. First organization to win 4 Super Bowls. Minnesota 16-6, Dallas 21-17, Dallas again 35-31, and the Rams 31-19. But the guys that played a role in that, the HBCUs, Mel Blount, Southern University, Henry Davis, Grambling, Glenn Edwards, Florida A&M, John Fuqua, Morgan State, Joe Street Gilliam, Tennessee State, L.C. Greenwood, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Ernie Holmes, Texas Southern, Donnie Shell, South Carolina State, John Stallworth, Alabama A&M, Ben McGee, Jackson State. Bill Nunn was responsible for all those players playing a key role in the Pittsburgh dynasty. And I'm going to take one key moment. 1976, the Steelers defense might have been the best all-time defense in a single regular season. They didn't win the Super Bowl that year, but led by Mel Blount, L.C. Greenwood, Joe Green, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert. That defense that year had 9 straight wins, 5 shutouts. Out of those 9 straight games, they allowed 1 touchdown and only 28 points. Bill Nunn is responsible. And then in 1978, my freshman year at the University of Arkansas, because I was a big-time Dallas Cowboys fan, I didn't like Steeler Nation. Considered one of the greatest teams. They went 14-2 that year. Beat the Houston Oilers in the playoffs. And Ted Bradshaw was magnificent in the Super Bowl that year. 318 yards, 4 touchdowns. But what stuck out in that game, I thought Dallas was a better team. Drew Pearson, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Tony Hill, Benny Barnes, Harvey Martin. But all I can remember about that game was John Stallworth. His 75-yard touchdown reception in that game. And then the play of the game. When Randy White fumbled the ensuing kickoff after Franco Harris had scored on that great 32-yard run and put the Steelers up 21-17. And that first play, Ted Bradshaw goes back. And he puts it up in the air. And Lynn Swann, like a ballerina, goes up and gets it over, I want to say Benny Barnes or Mark Washington. And he got up and did like that. And the terrible towels. And I was in Buchanan Drake. And the Steeler fans rose to the occasion. And then the following year, back-to-back Super Bowl championships, defeated the LA Rams in California. And John Stallworth, great 73-yard bomb for a touchdown in that game out of Alabama A&M. We could talk about Chuck Noll. We could talk about Franco. We could talk about Terry Bradshaw. We could talk about Joe Green. But the gentleman out of West Virginia State, editor of the Pittsburgh Courier, with his scouting prowess, his scouting savant ability, He was the reason that Steelers dynasty was special from 1972 to 1980. 4 Super Bowls. 22 Steelers played in 4 Super Bowl games. 8 straight seasons in the AFC playoffs. 6 consecutive AFC titles. Bill Nunn was the man. And Bill Nunn will go down as a hero in the National Football League. Him and Lloyd Wells, the first 2 African-American scouts in this game back in the 60s and 70s, are responsible for the National Football League to be where they are today. I'm sorry. The resume speaks for itself. The facts speak for itself. The players speak for themselves. Bill Nunn was special. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure to come into your living rooms this morning. To my producer, Mr. Logan Landers, for making it happen. My final words about Bill Nunn. When the Steelers dynasty was going at a high level, I was 12 years old. And something that I'm going to tell this morning that my father didn't even know. He probably going to get upset. Chester Turner back down in Memphis, Tennessee. When I think about the Steelers dynasty, I think about war and the song they had, Spill That Wine. Well, some days in the summer, as a 12-year-old, my friends that I grew up with, Greg Lyons, who was 10 at the time, Greg Porter, Clifton Miller, my next door neighbor. We used to sneak under this tree, and we used to have somebody buy us some wine out of the store. My father don't even know this till this day. He's gonna chuckle. And we used to sit under the tree and pretend like we was war, the Ohio players, and sip on that wine. It was like I was out strolling one very hot summer day when I thought I was by myself, laying down by myself. I was in this big field of tall grass with my friends, specifically Pine Hill Golf Course, if you know what I'm talking about, if you're from Memphis, Tennessee. And we felt that caressing coming from my face. It was us drinking that wine as young men, thinking we was grown and dreaming like we was in Hollywood. We were spilling that wine like war. And the Pittsburgh Steelers under Bill Nunn, they were spilling that wine at a high level with 4 Super Bowls and all those great players from the HBCUs and the other colleges. The Steelers dynasty was spilling that wine. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. We'll surely appreciate hearing 100 Yards Football. Greg Lyons, Clifton Miller, Greg Porter. You know what I'm talking about. Sipping on that wine, baby. God bless. Have a wonderful day.